Are you unsure of whether or not you should start a private practice? I'm Ross Capocci, also known as Mr. Ross, and I'm going to talk to you today about 5 barriers that I've seen to starting a private practice. These are some of the reasons that people either don't get started or put aside their dream, their whole fantasy about starting a private practice away. So let's get started on what these might be, and you might have some of these. And they are legitimate concerns. Let's start with the first one: job security and risk. For a lot of people, they would rather keep the job that they have versus getting a job that might be better. And this goes to loss aversion. Sometimes we feel worse about losing than we would feel happy about gaining. So when we look at job security and risk, oftentimes we have this idea that, let's say we have a job at X agency. And even though somebody has approached us and said, hey, you'll get paid more if you do private practice, you'll have more independence, and you might actually enjoy your job more. You might say, well, I like being here because I don't have to worry about getting clients. I don't have to worry about the various issues that might go on. And I know they've got my back. Do they really? Some businesses fold, and it may be through no fault of your own. In some cases, companies, as soon as there's an issue, will fire that employee or leave them. And when you look at the therapy field, say you're at your business and a client comes in and says, oh, that therapist harassed me, or that therapist has been awful to me. They're committing insurance fraud. Now, does your company have your back in those situations, or are you done at that point? There is still a level of risk to working for someone. It's not that the risk is zero. Is there more risk having a job versus having a private practice and having to get your own clients? Well, it's kind of tough to say. There's risks involved with both, but are they more equal than you might think? The second barrier that I see with people is financial preparedness. So people might say, oh, I don't have enough money on the sidelines for that, or I can't quit my job for a few months to get started. These are common reasons people don't get started with their private practice, but there's also ways to deal with that. One of those reasons is to start your private practice on the side as you work your full-time job. You might even start to take your first 2, 3, 4 clients on the side, maybe on evenings, maybe on weekends, maybe a morning that you have off. And by doing that, you start to build up your caseload. And with that, some confidence that you can manage your own private practice. The other part of that is you don't necessarily have to quit your day job right away or at all. If you really like your job, you can keep that and maybe maintain a caseload of a few clients on an evening or 8 hours on a Saturday and be able to have the best of both. Also, the overhead for counseling is fairly cheap. Now, you could have an office space, which, even if you have that 1 or 2 days a week, might be low, but you don't even need an office space with therapy today. So, you could go with a private practice out of your home. You could have a decent computer or tablet and do your sessions through telehealth. Your electronic health record may cost around $50 or $100 a month. And when you look at some of the other various costs to get started, it's fairly low in comparison to other businesses where you would need a lot of startup money for inventory, for example. The third barrier for people starting up their private practice is that their company has benefits. And the way I explain this to people is look at the benefits that you have, right? And add them to a spreadsheet. So maybe you get health insurance. Okay, how much do you pay into it? How much does the company pay into it? Add that up. Then times that by 12 for the entire year if you pay per month. Now look at how much they add to your 401k or the 403b, whatever their contribution is for your retirement. Now look at how much they pay for your holidays, sick time, vacation time, PTO, however it works for your company. So if, say, you would get paid $150 a day, $200 a day, $250 a day, whatever it is, times however many vacation and sick days that you might have. Once you calculate that, you'll be able to see how much the benefits are added onto your salary. And then you'll have a better idea of what you make. Then compare that to what you might make in private practice based on current insurance rates in your area, self pay rates in your area. And then you'll get a better idea and a better comparison of would you expect to make that much more if you went into private practice? The fourth part that might be intimidating for new therapists in private practice is that they have more independence. When you work at a job, you're kind of told what to do and when to do it. You might be told you have to be in by 8:30, you have to see clients every hour, you have a lunch break and we need to be able to reach you, and you have to go to these trainings on these dates in these particular areas that we say. And so for a new therapist in private practice, they might get intimidated by all the choices that they have, that they get to make their schedule how they want. They get to see however many or however few clients they want in a row. They're the ones who choose when the trainings happen, what kind of trainings they're signing up for, how much they cost, and whether they want to do them via some kind of video or whether they want to travel, maybe on a conference somewhere. And so this kind of independence could almost seem too much. I don't even want that. And it could be like, ooh, well, like, how am I supposed to do that? So yeah, it could be intimidating. And the fifth barrier to starting a private practice is your counseling purpose. Now, if you feel like your purpose as a therapist is already being met where you are, maybe you are where you're meant to be. And so you don't have to worry about starting a private practice. Maybe talk to a few colleagues, watch a couple more videos of YouTubers like myself discussing this to see if this might be a good fit. But maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you're achieving exactly what you need to achieve. However, private practice is very flexible. And so you might be able to achieve the same purpose in another way. So, say you want to work with individuals with anxiety or depression, OCD, you want to work with kiddos or couples. You might be doing that really great where your work is, but you could also be doing that at your private practice and market yourself as a clinician who sees people with anxiety or depression, that you specialize with couples or kiddos. So it doesn't have to be rigid, and it may look a little differently than how your company did it, but it doesn't mean you can't transition that over. Now, for some people, they are not living out their therapeutic clinical purposes. They might really want to work with a population that they're unable to work with. For example, someone might be working in drug and alcohol and might want to do more trauma-informed treatment and not get the opportunity to do so. Those constraints that they have might keep them from working within their purpose as much as they would like to. And so private practice could be a great opportunity to do that. Please post in the comments what your biggest barrier is to starting your private practice. If you'd like help along the way, make sure to download my free checklist in the description. It'll get you started on what you have to do in order to start a private practice. And if you need more help, you could contact me. I have programs designed to help you start your private practice. We could tailor it to you, where we have consultation sessions. And I also send you my resource slides, which have 3 hours of audio talking about private practice. So you will be prepared to get on the fast track to starting up your practice as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day.